And we're back.
Hello.
Hey.
This is Catherine and Bronwyn on Having a Yarn. How's your day today, Bronwyn?
Good. It is a lovely day, lovely April day. Mm-hmm. No, March. We're still in March.
Yeah.
It's actually my daughter's 16th birthday.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Maddie.
Yeah, so this time, 16 years ago, I gave birth to her at 12:30 in the morning.
Isn't that so weird? And how old were you?
I was 22.
She was 2 years younger than me than I am right now. So I would have a 2-year-old. We always do that. We always say with all the siblings, like, how old were you then? I would have been blah, 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 blah. Today we are filming in a little studio in Marrickville because...
Why not?
Yeah, because we're rich, that's why.
Yeah.
So we have, we can rent out studio spaces because, we have that kind of money.
Literally.
We have,
and
what is it called? Tangible.
Abundant. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Being creative.
Yeah, just fun, just being a little kid and just taking photos. That's what it feels like. When I was younger, that's what we used to do. We used to just dress up and take photos. That's what you used to do as well.
We used to get
film camera.
the camera, do interviews.
Yeah.
Literally this. This is what I did as a kid.
Literally. We've only just recently, or me personally, but you've only just done this last week, is the quantum leap meditation.
Yes.
How was that?
I have done I really tried with quantum leap before, but the awareness of space kind of lost me a little bit. But I actually did it without any meditation guides or anything like that. I'm trying to meditate without using
distractions,
them. Yeah, because it's just I'm just getting too dependent on other people telling me what to do.
Yeah.
So I was lying down and I was like, okay, get out of your head. And I was just breathing, big belly breaths and just and I just did it 3 times and I got out of my head and I kind of saw this light that was here shining down on me. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of love that radiated through my whole body, and then my body started shaking, and it was like a full body orgasm.
Robert told me this audio was I just orgasmed while meditating, but it wasn't a vagina orgasm. It was
a full body literally.
I had not as that intense. It took me, I had to do it with a guide for my first time because I didn't even research what it was. I just was okay, I'll try it. And I did it, and I sort of I had this shaking, but it wasn't as severe as that. It's a full body orgasm. I wasn't
eyes rolling to the back of my head, literally.
Imagine someone walked in on you. Doing
what
that.
The hell? It lasted for a good 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine lasted 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, it felt like I just kept having it in waves and waves, and I was just I'm going to try and see how long I can keep this going for.
Yeah.
And it just basically the way that I kind of kept it going was I just felt that love, I'm worthy of that love. Instead of being what is this? Being yeah, that's obviously what I deserve. And I just kept saying that and giving that to myself, which is the hardest thing to do as a human being.
Yeah. I
think is just feeling worthy enough to have love.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, that's what she's working on. I'm not working, I don't even know. I was in therapy. I think the last podcast, it went to shit, so I talked about it the last podcast, but it didn't even, my hard drive got corrupted. And I was in therapy, and I did 7 sessions of therapy, and my last session, I had this conversation with my sister, and I talked about it with my therapist. I was I felt...
Her other sister.
Yeah, another sister, I've got a couple.
Another one.
I was having to have this conversation with my sister because we don't have a good relationship, and before I even went to speak with her, I already felt really, really good about it. I was oh my gosh, this is going to be so easy. I just walk in, I just say what I've already said to myself. I just have to repeat myself.
Yeah, you have the script in your head.
Yeah, and I'd already felt really grateful, and I just felt really I felt excited to talk to her about it. And I talked to her and I was like, bah, 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 bah. And she's like, bah. And I spoke about it with my therapist. I was like, it was really good. Like, she didn't apologize. She didn't do that. But, like, you know, I can lead a horse to water. I'm not going to force it to drink. So, you know, she can do what she wants to do. And she's like, no. What she did was disgusting. That's what she said. She said, what she did was disgusting and she needs to apologize. I was like, nah, like, what am I going to do? I'm going to be like, Gemma, you must apologize.
My therapist said it was fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Now apologize now.
I was also like, disgusting. That's a bit crazy. Like, well, kids, like what I did, like, I don't think my actions were disgusting when I was a kid, and I did basically the same thing as her. So, like, if I'm going to put that in her, I'll have to do that to myself, and I don't think
but that's like saying, like, you know, when we go back to, like, when you're criticizing someone else, you're criticizing yourself, because that's the version of yourself that you see in the other person, which is, like, very off topic, but, you know, that's why we shouldn't judge, because...
Well, that's like when people have insecurities, sometimes they're looking, like, they're projecting those insecurities into other people in forms of bullying, and that's... And I don't think that of myself, so why would I think that of my sister? And she's like, you gave her way too much grace. Blah, 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 blah.
And what she said wasn't true as well, so...
Yeah.
It's like, if Gemma said, like, you know, cows aren't real, we're not going to get angry at her.
No. It is just like, like, she was just like, I don't know, said I was fat. Like, I don't even look, whatever. And we did, and then I had to have this, and she's like, no, close your eyes. That's what we do when you have situations that you have to close your eyes.
When you do inner child work, you go back to the version of yourself that believed, or the experience that you had.
And I had to go in, and I had to feel the feelings, and I was just talking, and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, okay, open your eyes. She goes, okay, I think you did figure that out. And then, like, I was telling her that, like, I'm so much happier now. Like, my life is completely changed. Like, I don't even know who that person was 6 months ago. But she goes, well, do you hate what you were 6 months ago? I was like, no, 100% no. Like, I'm so grateful for having that experience, because it can teach me how to help others to not have that experience, whatever. She goes, okay, that's really good. She goes, how did you do this so quickly? Like, how did you figure all this out? I was like, I don't know. I talked to my sister. My sister went to 2 years of therapy, so I kind of had, like, secondhand therapy through my sister. And she's like, okay. She goes, I don't think we need to do this anymore. Like, I think you're good. And I was like, straight. So apparently I don't need therapy. And I've told everyone. Like, I'm like, guys, my therapist said that I don't need therapy anymore.
I think it's because you went in young, like you're 24.
Yeah.
24?
Yeah.
And, you know, you haven't had any huge traumatic things.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's good.
I've got it, like, before. Like,
it's good to go in there. I think everyone should do it. Because, again, 7 sessions isn't a lot.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that was over a few months as well.
5 months,
It's not, like, a crazy schedule. But I feel like everyone should do it just to go back to their childhood and then re-establish those beliefs that you made as a child.
Because then you have, like, beliefs of romantic relationships, then you have beliefs of this, and then you have beliefs of that. If you just start as soon as you can, then you already have your core belief system, and you can just work off that, rather than, like, having all this other random shit that you need to figure out, like you did.
I went late. I'm the late bloomer.
Which is fine, which is totally fine.
Yeah, it's just two ends of the spectrum. What do you say to people that think that they didn't have a difficult childhood?
That didn't? Like, they say they didn't have a difficult childhood? Yeah, they don't
believe that they had a difficult, like, they don't need therapy. They don't believe they had a difficult childhood.
I don't really think it's, like, got anything to do... Like, it's obviously some aspects is childhood, but sometimes you're the problem and you don't even realise it. Like, you could have core beliefs that you don't even, like, realise. Like, I think also just, like, talking it out with someone professional, not talking, but, like, non-talk therapy with someone. Just because I was like... I don't need, like, I knew it was good to have it, but I was like, I don't really, like, need it. Like, it wasn't like, I was like, it's not like I'm like...
There's anything
dire
like, that you were like, this makes me feel like, all right, I need to recheck myself.
Yeah, but, like, I did it, and then I was like, wait, this has, like, changed my life, like, 100%. And I, like, you know, my childhood was, like, whatever, but I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. So, like... Yeah. Sometimes you... don't even realise, like, the stuff that even, like, people that do have, like, quote-unquote good relationships with their parents could be, like, toxic relationships. And, like, you don't know, like, the relationship that you have, but a professional will. They'll be like, well, that relationship is this. And I think, you know, this is how you should set your boundaries like this. Like, you know, your mum just like, you know, doesn't respect your space and like blah, 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 like whatever it is. I think it's really important just to have someone to talk to about all of that. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's ever really about someone doing something to you. It's how you feel that person treated you and how that made you feel and how that impacted your life. And I was watching Summer House. I know this is like super off topic.
The Summer House, it's like the most flop Tina show ever.
Anyway, I love it. And Paige said this one thing. She said she was dating this guy and she wanted to change the flight. He paid for the flights and she wanted to change the flight to get a later one because they were a bit hungover. And he said to her, when you pay for the flights, then you can make those kinds of decisions. And it was like after that, like she was like, well, I'm never letting a man pay for anything ever again because, you know, then they get to choose. Okay. So now she's turned into this hyper independent woman.
That's what I was wondering because she was like, didn't want him to pay for the rent.
So she's got a new partner and he was like wanted to help out with the rent.
And he lives there like half the time.
And he was like, I don't mind chipping in. And she was like, no. And then
I didn't hear that part, but I was like wondering like why is she so like hell bent on like all this stuff?
And he was like, you know, I can help out, and he wants to because then it solidifies they're a serious couple, and you know, but she doesn't want to because she feels like he's going to start making decisions in the apartment. Yeah. So then he feels insecure that she doesn't want his money, but she doesn't want his money because she doesn't want to be controlled by him. Yeah. So it's like,
but I think she is in therapy though, which is weird. And it's like, talk therapy is so flop Tina Aguilera. Tell the story about like when you went to your breathwork circle.
So I met up with this group of women, and this one girl has broken up with this guy. I think she broke up with him maybe at the start of the year, but they were on the rocks for months beforehand. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls said, so why did you break up with your boyfriend? And she was like, well, in July 2023, he sent me this message and it said this. And then I feel like we're never going to get deep and meaningful. And then it was like, and then August 2023.
And it went on for half an hour.
Half an hour. And this is before she's about to see her therapist. Listen, I love details in a story, but only when details relate back to the point. Yeah. Like, you know, and that's where you need to get specific. And when you're telling like, he borrowed the spray gun and I didn't check the spray gun was working, and then I said thank you and he said that, I'm like, why are we talking about all this stuff?
Literally so irrelevant.
You're kind of bogging your head with so much irrelevant information and then saying like he's this or he's that, and I'm just kind of like, you know, you really need to just come back to yourself and like put that attention that you got on him back on yourself and learn to love yourself, because it doesn't really matter what he does. No. It's really, and if he wants you, he would have, you know, if he wanted to, he would. And a lot of people don't like that saying. They're like, oh, it's not always that simple. Well, it fucking is. It kind of
is, yeah. I mean, I think everyone complicates everything. When everything is like, if I wanted something, I would do it. If I didn't want something, I wouldn't do it.
And like some therapists are like, yeah, but like he could be dealing with some stuff. It's like, yeah, but exactly. So he doesn't want to.
Exactly.
So that's a prime example of he doesn't want to, and he needs to go.
I don't care about what he's going through because
it's
that's
irrelevant.
Not really got anything to do with me. And also, he can talk to me about that. I'm not going to make shit up in my head. That's like, or what if he's doing that? Or what if he's like, what if he's what, bitch? Like, just it's whatever. And then what did you say to her when she went on this whole 30-minute tangent? You were like...
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like exactly the same conversations I have with my 16-year-old daughter. Like, fucking...
Yeah, literally.
Voila.
Yeah. We went to Punch Bowl yesterday.
It was just like so... You know, he's always on his phone. He's not connecting with her. And I'm like, that's literally what conversations I have with my daughter. And I'm like, this is a mother-son dynamic. Yeah. And she said, it feels like mother and son. I'm like, then why are we going back? Yeah. And that's why I don't like talk therapy.
And then she was like, and then you were like, you need to like focus on yourself. And then someone was like, I'm surprised you even said that, because that was like crazy.
Girl, afterwards, she was like, you really told her, didn't you? And I was like, I told her like what I thought. But like, if you're going to talk that much.
They acted like you were like,
She acted like
calling her out.
but I kind of was, but like,
But like, it was just a conversation.
go within. Like, basically all I was saying was go back to yourself, because that's where the answers are, you. And I said to her, what's missing inside of you that you feel like you need to get from him? Because that's the missing piece. And that's not going to come from him. Like, he's not going to validate you. He's not going to make you feel good. If you need validation, you need to find a way to validate yourself. Like, that's, if we're going out to the outside world to get
validation.
all these, or to get anything, you're always going to feel disappointed by other people. And then you've given them responsibilities that they can't handle, like your mental health, your well-being, how you feel about yourself. That's your job. Yeah. And that's not other people's. And if you feel let down, but you're still going back and feeling let down, I'm kind of like, this kind of sounds a little crazy to me. I don't know why we're doing this. Are we talking?
And then she went to therapy afterwards. I'm like, gosh, your therapist lets you flap on like fucking that? Honestly.
I was like...
But therapists just let you run your fucking mouth. Like, they're like, okay, and what's her name? And how old is she? And how's she related to... Like, these details, schmeetails.
And, like, explain that to me in more detail.
Yeah.
Like, so it takes longer. And you're like, so you're telling a story and then you've got to give all the details.
And you've already told this story, like, 1,000 times to, like,
and you've
100
been
people.
through it.
Yeah.
And so and then you're paying someone to tell them all these...
Yeah, and then in my therapy, she doesn't even ask for the person's name that I'm talking about. Sometimes she doesn't even ask me, like, how was that conversation with that person? Because she's like, I really don't care. Like, it's not about them.
It's about you.
It's about you. And we go within you. We don't go, okay, maybe next time try and approach it this way to that person. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are we doing here? Honestly.
Yeah, that sounds... I remember I was watching... I can't remember what podcast I was listening to. It'll come to me later. It was like a crime podcast a few years ago. And this girl's like, I love therapy. I think I'm going to go twice a week now.
Wait, talk therapy?
Yeah. She's like, an hour's just not enough.
Gosh, what are they talking about?
Well, a lot. I don't know.
But like...
Blah, 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 da, 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 da.
My last therapy session went for like 25 minutes. And the rest was just, she was just asking me questions on how did I get here so quickly.
Mine went for like an hour and a half.
Oh no, mine, it's only because my last one went for 25 minutes. Usually they go under an hour, usually.
Yeah.
I don't say anything. I don't talk.
Yeah. You don't talk about your life. You talk about like stuff that that has happened to you. Or...
Childhood.
And you speak from your intuition. You don't speak from like
I don't even remember what I say in the therapy sessions because it's all from here. The heart. It's all from the heart.
Did your ancestors let you speak your truth?
I did have like a croaky voice at that time when I was sick.
When I was doing my Reiki healing, I did it with this woman, this teacher, and she had like a voice, like it would croak up sometimes, and she'd go, oh, sorry, like my ancestors are blocking me from speaking my truth.
Which doesn't even make any sense. Why would they want to block you from speaking the truth?
And like free will is the strongest will in the whole universe.
Yeah.
No one can stop you. Yeah. Do you think they want? I think they do.
They go to her throat and they go...
But like, of course they would love to stop you from dating that guy or doing that stupid shit.
They love to stop you from stop talking because you don't shut the fuck up.
I think there's a lot of things they'd love to stop us from doing, but they can't because
the truth is not the thing that is stopping you from doing.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah.
We obviously did not. I didn't get along with that woman. I thought that was because like sometimes people just say things, and I think that's convenient for you.
The excuses people make are so funny. When you like start to, because I used to make excuses for everything in my whole life. Like
I know. You used to get angry at me if I like said, Catherine.
Everything was an excuse, but you know that's fine. I was at that time in my life, and you know that's the way I wanted to live.
That's the journey.
That was the journey that I was on. And I did not want to be interrupted, which is fine. I totally validate her, but. Then when you stop making excuses for actually everything, you look at everyone else making excuses and you're like, and you realize that how many excuses people make in a day is like actually fucking insane. They're like, oh, I can't do that because of this. Or like I went clubbing by myself a couple of weeks ago and like literally everyone I told was like, I could never do that. I'm like,
people are a bit odd about going out by yourself.
And I'm just like, but you have arms and legs. So like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, physically.
It's like, not that you can't, like, because you can. So, like, why do you have limiting beliefs? Why do you have a limiting belief
You absolutely
system?
can, and you can absolutely have fun.
Yeah. And that's what I said. I said I had more fun than, I may as well tell this story. I went out, because I told on the last podcast was I was meant to go out that night. It was that night.
Yeah.
I was going out by myself, and I've lost Sundays in the Ivy. It's usually like 1,000 fucking people. There's like at least minimum 5,000 people there usually every night. It's so packed. And it's all straight white men, so like it's just really annoying. But this artist, I am obsessed with him, so I was like, I have to go. Like I can't not go. And so I went, and luckily there was like no one there, which I actually felt bad because he like sold no tickets. But he's like the biggest artist.
I hate that.
He's a huge artist, and I think it was homophobic because it's not he, it's they them, and it was just giving homophobic because there was literally no straight white men there.
Oh, because they are the usual crowd and they didn't go
because usually it's straight white men and it's a queer person, and it's also Mardi Gras, so it was like
they were like, I'm not going to the city.
Which, to be honest, I think it was the universe being like, Catherine, this is your entry level, because if there was that many people there, it would have been a completely different story. But luckily, because there was like 300 people there, it was like heaps chill. And I walked in there, I saw my old best friend as soon as I walked in. I was like, okay, love that. Kept walking. And
first test.
Yeah, literally. The universe was like, hello, like dangling.
How are we going to deal with this? Is this going to trigger you?
And I just was like, on my phone.
Pass.
Literally, yeah. And I didn't have a sip of alcohol. I did take a gummy, which taking a gummy when you're out, especially by yourself, usually doesn't like make a difference. You don't feel it.
Last week, I had half a gummy, and I was like,
really?
And off we go to
really?
Pluto.
I've taken gummies at the Ivy. I took 3 in one night, and I took
half, and
thing.
I was like, zing zing.
Yeah,
zing,
like
zing, zing.
it's so weird. It's so you have such a different experience. But I took one, and I didn't really feel it that much, and I just had water the whole night, and I was dancing,
feeling myself.
And usually when I would be out by myself, I'd be like, everyone thinks you have no friends, you're a loser, like, why don't, like, what, you have no friends, blah, 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 blah. My ego would just be running in my head the whole entire time.
And then you can't enjoy yourself because you're just like, yeah,
even
you're
the
probably
last
right.
time I went to the Ivy, which I went by myself as well, and because my friends left and I wanted to stay there, and it was running to my head, even though, like, I liked that, like, I love this artist, and I said, I had a really good time, but I didn't, because I was just in my head the whole time. I was trying to convince myself that I did have a good time. But this time, it was like silence in my head. Like and I hadn't gone out by myself before after like making big shifts in my life. Like from getting out of my head, from learning about my root chakra, I hadn't like gone out by myself and like actually used it in the real life world. And I did, and I was like, okay, so like I can just like have fun by myself, not drinking. This is crazy. If I told myself this 2 years ago, what would she have said? She would have said, no, that's physically impossible.
You got to get maggot.
Yeah, you got to get like, how mad? But no, and I actually had the best night of my life, even more than I've had with all of my friends.
Yep.
Which is like unheard of.
Yep.
And I met some people, and it was literally the best night, and I had so much fun. I stayed the whole time. Usually I leave a bit early, stayed the whole night, and rated it 10 out of 10, honestly.
I like the option of being able to leave whenever I want.
Yeah.
I love that.
Because usually I would leave early just because like my brain is just on the whole time. And also, a weird thing is, well, usually when I go out, I'll leave and I can't feel my legs. Like my legs are all numb.
That's weird.
Yeah, and it's usually because my feet, like, you know when you're dancing, your feet start to hurt because you're standing for like 5 hours. So usually I'll just pretend like I'll just try to forget about my feet so I don't feel the pain. But then I'll leave and I'll be walking. I'll be like, whoa, I wasn't feeling my legs the whole time. Like I was dissociating from my body the whole time. But I went this time and I had no pain in my legs. Like usually, as in not pain, but no numbness. Usually, it's like every single time I go out, I'll always have numbness in my legs this time because I was connected to my root chakra the whole time, and I was thinking about grounding myself and my feet and my legs. I was thinking about being there, being grounded, being present in the moment, that I didn't have any numbness.
And you weren't in your head because you're in your lower half of your body, which Marie tells us to do all the time.
Yes, Marie tells us to do that all the time. And it also, my inner child grew by like 8 years.
Yep.
which I told my therapist, and she's like, that is insane. I was like, yeah, I know. And like literally like after I left, I had to like sit on the like
to take it
for
all
30
in.
minutes to decompress. And I just recorded, I was just like, oh my gosh.
You had a love attack.
Literally, I was just like, I'm so grateful. Oh my gosh.
Who am I?
I was talking to my inner child and she was talking to me. And I was like, I'm sorry that I've disconnected from you for so long. She's like, Catherine, it's okay. I've always been here. I was just like, thank you, girl. And I literally had the best night ever. So I highly recommend going out by yourself and grounding yourself and having a good time. I didn't try to make friends immediately because that's a crutch. I tried to be by myself for a period of time, and then the other half of the night I like met people because that's easy. You just meet someone and then you're with them.
You don't have to be by yourself.
Yeah, you don't have to be by yourself, but I wanted to be by myself, and then I met people. So I recommend going out by yourself.
Yes. And a tip, if you want to trial going out by yourself, do like go to a breath work or a just dance event, something that goes for an hour that you don't really have to talk to anyone.
Yeah.
So you're going there and you're going by yourself, but you're not actually talking to anyone when you're there, but you're doing it.
Yeah. And the thing that's sometimes difficult with these events that I enjoy is that everyone drinks. I go out to the club, everyone's drinking, everyone's drunk, everyone's on drugs. I was technically on drugs, but weed doesn't count.
Gummies don't count.
Gummies don't count. So, like, those environments can be pretty challenging. I don't personally like drink, really, so I don't really think of it like that. But if you're like drinking, that like just changes everything, and you'll have a flop tea night. So like, don't.
Well, you can't ground your energy if you're drinking.
No, you can't. You can't be
You
even just like one sip of alcohol, it just like ruins it. Honestly, and ruins your fucking sleep.
Goes to
night.
your reptilian brain.
Yeah, and your sleep that night is just so floptina.
Oh, the sleep is the worst.
I even watched this whole YouTube video about sleep. They say weed over time can lower your REM sleep.
Yep.
If you like have it in really high doses, but just one sip of alcohol can ruin your whole REM cycle for the entire night. So usually you wake up like super early in the morning at like 6, 7 a.m. and you're like, fuck, like I got no fucking sleep last night, and you like can't go back to sleep. It's just because you fucked your REM cycle just by having like one drink. So
yeah,
I don't even want to drink anymore because like even just one sip of alcohol can ruin my whole sleep, and I'm like,
sleep's good.
Yeah, so important. And like I've only got fucking 2 days of a weekend. Like I want to enjoy my sleep for the fucking weekend.
Not like be tired and then go to work on Monday want to kill yourself.
Literally. Or call in sick. Just because I didn't get any sleep.
So we went to get fried last night.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a fan of queues.
The one thing about Bronwyn is she's not a fan of queues, but like if there's 4 people in the line, she's like, nah, I just won't do it.
It's just, even today, we went to the 7-Eleven and there was this old man at the coffee, and I was like, I would have waited, and you were like, fridge, and I was like, yeah. And those old people, they can take an age.
Gosh, especially a touchscreen, you're fucked.
They're just like, and then they like stay there for ages, and then they put their sugar in, and they can't put the lid
they don't
on.
move to the side, they just stay in front of the machine. Yeah.
So anyway, I went to this, I saw the queue. It was Good Friday and Ramadan in Punch Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah, and we got there.
The trifecta.
We got there at like 7:20. We didn't leave till 8:45. We just grabbed. We didn't eat it. We just grabbed the food. That's how long it took. An hour and 20 minutes.
I would have been okay if it had have come on time, but they lost the docket.
Yeah.
It somehow ended up on the back.
Because there was like so many people in front of us that were behind us that were getting our food, and we're like,
I'm like, they ordered after us. Why are they getting food? And I'm not. And I'm just like, I went up there and I didn't want to say anything to the guy because he had like...
He's a bit scary.
He had 500 orders under his belt, and he's probably like, yeah, fuck off. Yeah, fuck.
Because he did say that to someone.
He's like, it's coming, shut up. And I'm like, fair enough. Like, he's a busy man. I would be the same though.
Oh, 100%.
I would be telling people off left, right, and centre. So I was just like, I went up there and I just showed him my receipt. I'm like, hey, where's mine? And he was like, oh. And he said, sorry about that. Gave me a free gravy. But the thing is, I fucking hate hype shit. I hate TikTok blow-ups. I hate I just think it's just so, like, I went there because I want a good burger that's near Mum and Dad's house. It's only 7 minutes from Mum and Dad's house in Sydney. And I was like, fine, I'll check it out. But it's a fucking burger and chips.
Yeah.
It's the biggest, stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Like,
An hour and a half just to grab the food.
to get fucking a burger and chips, like, it's a burger and chips. I mean, it's a good burger. I
You
don't.
could literally just get it from Chicken Wizard in Panania
Yeah.
and wait like 5. Sorry. So it was really yummy food, but that wait was just insane.
I don't know if it'll calm down and.
That was like the thing with acai. Acai blew up really quickly, and then everyone was getting acai, and the waits were an hour. Like people were waiting in the line for an hour, but you do it on Uber Eats, and you pick up, you go bop, 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 and you walk up and you grab it, but they're not on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
I would have done that, but
I'm not a fan of like hype stuff and queuing up. Even today, we're in Marrickville and there's this bakery. People,
oh my gosh, it was like
20 people deep
for a bakery.
Can we not do that, please?
Can everyone just like go home so I can try something?
No, I'm not a fan. I don't fully rate Get Fried for an hour and a half away. You know what annoys me? There's this guy. He goes around Sydney. He's Lebo.
Yeah, that's the guy that blew up that one.
I don't like him because he gets the royal treatment. I feel like it's not an authentic review because he's not waiting. Like, he's not queuing up.
Yeah.
He's not.
It was also really dead when he did his review. So I think, but he blows up stuff in the area.
Yeah. Which I love. I love that for him and for the businesses. I don't love that for me.
If they would have had like an alternative for pickup that you can order it beforehand and then you're in the queue but you're not in the queue and then I just walk up there when it's ready, 100%. But you all need to figure this out. When that fucking guy, when he reviews your fucking business, fucking set it up before I get there, please. And
does he tell them that he's going?
Well, they usually ask him to come to review their business. So set up a fucking system because you know he's going to blow it up if it's good.
And I think that's not fair because
then you flop Tina afterwards.
The customer experience is flop.
And then you are only just a hype. Whereas if you got it all together
like
before I came. Yeah, a waffy, you call up and you go, hello, can I order this? They're like, yeah, 10, 15 minutes.
Boom, boom, boom. Awafi did the blow up before TikTok, before anything. They are legit.
Now no one goes there.
Really? It's always busy when I go there.
Yeah, but because it's such a small parking lot, I feel like there's only like 3 people in there when we go in there. I'm reading this book at the moment that was recommended by Marie. Don't ask me how to say her last name.
Yeah, it's too much.
She's a comedian that has a podcast that Bronwyn and I are obsessed with.
Yes.
And she recommended... She recommended this book called The Super Beings. It's like a really small book. It's about just like connecting with Source and that, Jesus, he did perform miracles and blah, 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 but you can do that as well, essentially. And
he performed the miracle because people believed he could. So basically they healed themselves because they believed he could heal them. And by them believing that, they healed themselves. Yeah.
And that God isn't a singular being. It's like the consciousness, I am the universe, sort of like Neville Goodman and Godman.
Goddard.
Basically how to connect
Neville
with that.
Goddard, sorry.
Neville Goddard. And how to connect with that. And I highly recommend this book to anyone. It's called The Super Beings. I don't usually read books like on the way to work, when I'm going to bed. Like I don't usually take up that much time with the book. But I'm really, really enjoying this book. It's like breaking down passages from the Bible and how like all the passages from the Bible are just metaphors. They're not like meant to be taken literally.
Yeah, it's not a man and a woman. Yeah. It's like consciousness and inner child and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's like masculine and feminine and like all that stuff. And it's just breaking down everything that it took me a really long time to because they talk about Jesus all the time, and at the start of the book, like the first half, they don't really break down what Jesus is or like how it is in their
how they view
Jesus, and because how I view Jesus is this
because of your Catholic upbringing.
Yeah, when I see Jesus, I literally think of like a guy I think of him in like the shawls with like the red fucking thing and beard and Jesus. I think of Jesus, but it's not. I have to like disconnect my my beliefs of Jesus and suspend them and create new ones. And it just sometimes I just like, they're like, who is the most intelligent person you've ever met? And they're like, Jesus Christ. And I just like had to put the book down. I was like, it's not the Jesus that you think of. They think of it differently. And it's really good because the passages, they take everything so literally, like even just like sharing the bread and like, or like healing the blind and like doing all
the
this.
Garden of Gethsemane where they killed Judas. Like, he didn't actually get killed.
Or like when Jesus says I, he means like I am, as in the consciousness of everyone, of the collective, rather than him directly. So he shouldn't be worshipped. It's like everyone.
You are.
Yeah. So when he says like, when I do this and I do this, you do this, blah, 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 he's talking about everyone.
Yeah, if he can create the world and he can create, so can you.
Yeah.
Because you are God, I am, whereas that is God, I am, and I can say that. He can do that, therefore I can.
Yeah, and because God created you, you are a part of his creation, so you have God within you because he created you and you can tap into that. Obviously he's of a much higher conscious because he's all of consciousness in the universe.
But you have the capacity to grow.
To tap into that and to become your higher self, and it's basically breaking down everything with that, which I'm really, really enjoying because it's sort of helping me unpack my background of Catholicism.
Well, religion. Well, basically everything they taught you at church was wrong.
Yeah, which I already knew, and like I get that.
But you didn't understand what was wrong, like what parts.
Or like I knew it was like all of Flocktina. I knew, I'm like, well, he didn't actually put like all these animals on a boat, and I knew he didn't actually do all of this other shit. Like I actually knew that. I knew it wasn't like that part wasn't real, but I didn't know that it was like because they just explained it wrong, essentially. And it's their interpretation is the only interpretation, where it can be interpreted in so many other ways, and they don't hold space for that, for other interpretations. So I think it's also that, and I've heard all these fucking stories like 1,000 times, like over and over, but the Catholics like actually believe it so literal, like that you shouldn't think that you are as like at the same level as God, or you shouldn't.
Well, they're worshipping something outside of them.
Yeah,
like that is God there.
It's distance.
And if I need something, there's separation, and that all that creates is lack.
Yeah,
because
and also when they teach you, they say God is always with you and he's always within you, but he's up here, and you're like, well, that can't be, because he can't be in me and then up, like, and then away from me. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense.
But then I'm worshipping something outside of me.
Yeah, and they were watching this podcast that was sort of explaining that in those terms of like people think that God is with you, but he's not. He's up here, blah blah blah, and they were explaining it in like funny words, but like I could understand what they're saying. My parents couldn't. My dad looks at my mum and was like, do you understand what he's fucking saying? And mum's like, I have no idea what he's saying. And I explain it, and I'm like, well, he's talking about this, this, and this, but I don't agree with what he's saying. I think this and this and this. God is this and this and this. And Dad's like, so you have a relationship with God now? I was like, well, not your God, but consciousness, I am.
Yeah. Well, we all have spiritual relationships, but there's always like we're spiritual beings. Yeah. Every one of us. So we all have some spiritual relationship, even if you don't believe in it. And
we're all balls of energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So if consciousness is an energy, I can bounce off that. Hello. And it's really good unpacking all of that. I've only just gotten to the part where they're starting to break down that what they mean about Jesus, and like, because there's apparently 10 levels of like consciousness, and he was level 11, and he was like the only person that was like documented that actually could reach that level.
Yeah, I believe that.
And like I do believe that, like I know that scientifically like, he was on the earth and he did do all that, but I was like, were they just all on heroin? Like there's obviously something that they're just not telling me, that there's a disconnect there, and I'm starting to understand that connection.
I believe he believed in Father, like God, consciousness, so much he gave his whole heart and soul to it. He believed it with his whole fucking chest, basically. Yeah. And because of that, he was able to do things like he wasn't. It's not like he healed anyone, because everyone can heal themselves.
Yeah.
No one actually heals anyone.
Yeah.
But I'm a spiritual healer. I don't actually heal anyone. I just
they just believe that they could heal themselves.
Yeah. So, but because he is able to say, like, because they believed he could, then they believed in themselves and they believed it was going to happen. Just like people can get cancer because they believe that they can get it, so then they get cancer. You can also, as much as you can get cancer, you can also take it away from your body because you can heal it. So I feel like he was able to, because they believed in him, they believed he could do it, so they believed it was going to happen to them.
Yeah,
therefore,
they basically manifested it.
Yeah, because they believed, and he believed 100%, so that's why all those things happened around him.
Yeah.
Because he believed and he just completely trusted in God. And it wasn't like that was his actual son.
No, we're all sons of God. But that's what they actually believe, is like the Holy Trinity and all that shit.
He
like
sent...
it's only, he like gave, like someone gave birth to actual son. Like
Jesus.
They take everything so literal. Like that's so funny.
He sent his only son.
Like his only son, but it's like, well, no.
He sent all of us to earth.
We're all his sons and daughters.
Yeah, like we all are.
But they also say that as well. They also say that we're all sons and daughters of God as well.
Yeah.
But he only has one son. So
but he sent his only son to earth. And that's where a lot of the contradiction kind of lies within the Catholic Church. You're kind of like, well...
And it's so funny that when you talk about it with them, especially Catholics, they have whole courses on how to defend religion. And it's like, why do you need all this defense? Like, if you really believe it, that's it. You don't need to fucking convince anyone. But they have whole seminars where they say, okay, if they say this, you say that. And if they say this, you say that. Like, they have this whole argument that they have at the back of their head. So if anyone tries to contradict something that what they're saying, even though what the other person's saying might be right, they're not even listening to them because they're like, well, the priest said that I have to say this if you say that. So they're not even actually unpacking anything themselves. They're just being told everything of what to say.
Regurgitating what they've
been
told.
They're not using their frontal fucking lobe, and so they all get dementia, and they like all get so fucking... You know those old people at church, they all look like they're on the verge of death, and they're like 70 years old.
Yeah.
And they're like about to croak.
It's kind of like that documentary, The Garden, on Binge.
Yeah.
The cult.
Yeah.
And they're all just defending the fact that it's not a cult.
Yeah. It's sort of like Mormonism as well. It's like those vibes. Like they go on missions where they basically like defend their religion the whole time. And they have rule books, which like Catholicism have as well. They have like the commandments, which they take so literal as well. Like going to church every Sunday, like, oh, flop Tina. It even says that in like the book. It's about how one of the commandments is going to church every Sunday. It's more of like you need time to rest, to decompress with yourself, rather than going to a place and worshipping someone else. Like everything is just so bundled and and floptina, and I'm enjoying breaking it all down just for me because of my background.
Relearning.
Yeah.
New beliefs.
New belief system.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while. I do love doing that and learning more. It just, like, knowledge is power, I feel, and then you can find something that you relate to, and it just helps you on your journey to know what the real truth is. And the more you read, the more you learn, the more you can detect bullshit.
Yeah, and that's what they say the whole time, is just, like, learning the truth. Everyone needs to learn the truth, and the truth is that you have everything that you need, which is the best cult. Because it's not focused on anyone else, it's just self-centric.
It's self-empowering.
Yeah, so you're not worshipping anyone, you're just worshipping yourself essentially. So
you're just believing that you are like powerful and you can do anything. And the more that you can help people fall in love with themselves, the more loving they're going to be to each other. And like I got into near-death experiences for a while there. I was watching them. And it's kind of the same thing that happens every single time someone dies. They go through this tunnel and then they go up to earth. They have a life review and they basically feel everything that they did to other people and how that person felt. But everything's like instant.
Yeah. And it's funny when my parents would watch that as well, and they'd only relate to the ones where they talk about God and Jesus. like when people would be like, I saw God, or I saw Jesus, or I saw Mary, or I saw this, but then like there was only like 3% of the stories, but then the other were like the tunnel and the white, but it's not white, but it's colours, and everything's so colourful, but it's not like actual colours, like not real colours that we see on Earth, like whatever. And my parents are like, well, those aren't real. These 3 stories that talked about Jesus are real.
There's this one guy who was a priest, and he had a near-death experience, and he's like, no, I want to go back to help my parents. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's going to regret that. So they're like, are you sure? Usually they're like, I think you should go back now. Like, we've just brought you here for a little bit to realise stuff, but like, you need to go back. But very rarely they're like, are you sure? But he's like, no, I really want to go back. And then instantly he was back, and then instantly, as soon as those words left his mouth, he regretted it. He came back. He left the priesthood. He was completely against religion. He got like really depressed because he's like, everything's so ugly. He thought sunrises were ugly, sunsets, because he's like, it just doesn't compare.
They're just so jealous.
He's like, all right, I'll go back now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that would be the worst. But most people were happy when they came back. Like, it was beautiful, but they were like...
Yeah, I've never heard... I've heard a couple of stories of people regretting, like, that they wish that they stayed there, like, because it wasn't... Like, they're like, oh, you should go back, like...
Yeah.
But they think that wasn't their choice.
But I feel like the people that were forced to go back, they're like, you got stuff to do.
Yeah.
And then they went back and they did the stuff to do.
Yeah.
Whereas this guy was like, actually meant to stay.
Free will is the biggest law in the universe.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. And they were like, okay, like, you kind of
fun,
done.
Bitch.
You're kind of done, but like, if you want to go back for your parents, and then they sent him back and he was like...
I wonder what was wrong with his parents. I want to know.
He just thought they'll miss him.
Flopped.
I know. He was like, oh, they'll be really sad. And they're like, yeah, they would be. But like, they'll get over it. And he was like, no.
What a flop, Tina.
That would literally never happen to me. I'd be like,
oh my gosh.
Mum and Dad have 5 other children, and like
also,
a million
they're gonna die soon. Like, they're old. Like, how long? Like, I'm gonna live so much longer than them. Like, bitch, it's not. Their life is about me, not about you.
Mum and Dad would be like, they would be sad, but they
not enough for me to come back.
They would.
I don't care how much a sadness they feel it all.
It's about you.
I really don't care.
You're like, I'm in the most beautiful place in the world.
Literally.
Am I going to go back to Earth, which is one of the worst places in the whole universe, in the multi-universe?
I'll see you later. They'll probably come back like that anyways, because time doesn't even exist, so like, whatever.
And the fun thing was like, she would be like, oh, that's a cool mountain, I want to be over there. And then she's on the mountain.
Who?
When she was in her, like, in the other world, in her...
Who?
When she was dead. These past life stories.
I thought you were talking about someone specifically.
No. But these past life stories, they would like, she would say, I want to be on that mountain, and then they'd be there.
Okay.
Because you can actually do that, because it's quantum leaping.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, okay, you're going back to quantum leaping.
Yeah, but it's all connected. Because that's what
I was like, is this a near-death experience?
No, because quantum leaping is basically the only reason why we have space and time, like we only have time and distance, is because we believe that there's distance to get things, where there actually isn't. If you want something, it can just appear. I mean, that's an insane amount of consciousness, but you can actually do that.
Yeah, that's like when I was a kid and I wanted to watch The Incredibles, but sometimes I would be annoyed that like it would take so long to get to the good part, and then I'd black out and I'd wake up and then I'd watch the...
I don't think that's the same thing, but yeah. I think that's like a sleep and then wake up.
Dissociating. Anyways, thank you all for watching the podcast. We love you all.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya. Bye.